Good morning to everyone and once again welcome to history class. Today in this class we are going to see about the history topic. In the history topic we are going to see the chapter number 1. As you are knowing about that, this is our history textbook and today we are going to start our history textbook, the chapter number 1. So let's move. First point, the name of the chapter 1 is what, where, how and when. So the concept is very simple. In history we are going to see about this what, where and how and when it was happened in the history. So today in the topic number 1 we are going to see finding out what happened, where happened, how happened and when. So we are going to see about all these questions in this presentation. I request you all to have a notebook and a pencil or a pen to copy down the important point. You can have your textbook to be open while you are studying. Next, point number 1. Everybody in the world is bothered about their future, and then what is the need to learn about our past. So here I have placed 4 questions for you which is speaking to you. Everybody is worried about their future to make the future. So what is the important and need to learn about the past? So question arises. So the past makes us to realize about the mistakes, about how to take a good, more effective steps so we can have a more progress in our past. As we are having the progress in past, we can more successful progress towards the future. So like that, whatever the past progress is there, and to move ahead on that, we require the past to be studied. Okay? Then, how many of you know about your forefathers' detail? It's a very important question. Your grandfather, your grandfather's grandfather, and that forefathers, that means you are knowing about detail? So no. So think about that, ask your grandparents about their and how they were managing their life and so on. That's a part of history. Next, moving to the third question. If you want to know about any king who ruled India successful, what details need to know? So what details you are going to need to know? These questions are very important. You can copy down also this question and you can frame your own answer also, or you can think about it. So the question will be there, what, right, and where and how and when it was happened in the history. Do you think that the names of the places, political, social condition and the lifestyle of the people in the past is the same as today? So the answer is no, because the past story and the present story is totally different. Next. So here I am going to show you this. By that you can understand why the history is very important and why we should know about the history and understand it. So first, here we are seeing story of someone which speaks about history. History in simple word is his story. The word history is divided into two, H-I-S, his, and S-T-O-R-Y, story. So his story. The story of a man. It is the story of the man's progress from the distant past to the present. Concept clear to you? So here as we are going from 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up to 2013. So as the years are passing on, we are creating history. When you were studying in the first standard, at that time the teachers, teaching and everything was different. When you join the Sainik School Bijapur, after so many years, you will have the history of the Sainik School Bijapur. So like that you are having so many histories in your past. Next, here you are seeing past, present and future. And this is the box of history. So as we are moving here, past, present and future. Past is there, we are living in present and future. So this box is speaking about history. All these 3 arrows are going here. Past also, present also and future. 3 are going and creating the history here. means to speak about. History may be defined as a careful and systematic record of the past event. Please copy down this point, which means about what is history. So history may be defined as the careful and a systematic record of the past event. A person who studied and record the event is going to be called as historian. So that is going to be called as historian, the person who used to record all the things and keep the event record, that is called as historian. Next, moving towards our next concept. History helps us to know about. Why I am placing this slides for you so that you can understand about why history is important for us. From history what we are getting. So from history is helping us to know about our past. Okay. Then the kings, statesmen and the ordinary people, we can know about them. Then origin and evolution of the different language, how the languages are originated. Then the mistakes made by our ancestor, we can understand that. Then next, that the continuous development of the man's culture and civilization. Just we are going to study in this history part only the Indus Valley civilization, Mohenjo-daro, Harappan civilization. So that's a part of history. So history is defining all these concepts to us and helping us to know about more and more. Next, moving toward the textual concept. She is Rashida and Rashida is having one question. Rashida sat reading the newspaper. Suddenly her eyes fell on the small headline 100 years ago. How she wondered. Could anyone know what had happened so many years ago? So here the question for you also. How you can know about that what has happened so many years ago? So the history is going to speak you about the book, the record of that all the event will speak to you, state to you what has happened in the history. So moving further, we are going to have few examples and we are going to understand how the history is making us our life to be very, very clear. Next, finding out what happened. We are moving to the main topic here. Yesterday you could listen the radio, watch the television, read a newspaper. Last year ask someone who remember. So last year all the people have seen television, movies and so on. So all the things we can't memorize or that is not recorded in our brain. So but what about a long years ago? Let us see how it can be done. So many years. So when you were of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, at that time what were the histories were there? You are not remembering. What you have written at that time? You are not remembering now. So for that purpose history is very important. So what can we know about the past? First question, what can we know about our past? So first one here, there are several things we can find out. What people ate, the kind of clothes they wore and the houses in which they lived. Okay, by this thing we can understand about that these people were living in this type of house, they were using that clothes, they were eating these many food items. So we can find out about the lives of the hunter, gatherers, farmers, herders, rulers, merchants, priests, craft persons, musicians and so on. Like that we can also find out about the games the children played, the story they heard and they played, they saw and the songs they sang. So like that you are having so many things by you can understand about that. What can we know about the past? By their living style, by their dressing pattern, by their eating habits, you can understand about the past of that particular period. Next, where did people live? So where did people live? We are going to see this. So people were living where? We are going to see. Find the river Narmada on the map number 1, page number 2. So here in your textbook only on the page number 2, the map is given here. On page number 2, the map is given here. Right? So first point is there. Find the river Narmada on the map number 2. So this is the map number 2. We are going to understand and we are going to see it in a crystal clear way in the upcoming slides. Next, people have lived along the banks of the rivers for the several hundred years ago. So several hundred years or thousands years ago, some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled gatherers. That is the people who gathered their food. They used to have their food by gathering it. Next, they knew that about the vast wealth of the plants in the surrounding forest and collect roots, fruits and other forest products as their food. They also hunt animals. That's why they were called as hunter and gatherers. Okay. First point is find the river Narmada on the map number 1. We are going to see this question by that particular map. Okay. This is the explanation part, so I am explaining it here. Next, now find the Sulaiman and the Kirthar hills to the northwest. In the northwest, we are going to see this. So some of these were areas. Some of the areas where the women and man first began to grow the crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years ago are located here. People also began to rearing animals like sheep, goat and cattle and live in village. So how their evaluation of the living was starting here. Please see. Then the next question. Locate the Garo hills to the northeast and Vindhyas in the center in the India. These were some of the areas where these things were happening. Next, trace the river Indus and its tributaries, and tributaries are the smaller rivers that flow into the large river. So here, what is tributary? Small rivers, they are pouring their water, they are giving tribute to the large river in the form of water that are called as tributaries. So here we are tracing this question also, we are going to see in that particular map after studying that map. So about 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the bank of these rivers. This river means Indus and its tributaries. Later, about 2,500 years ago, cities developed on the bank of the Ganga and its tributary and along the sea coast. First Indus and its tributaries, then Ganga and its tributaries. Next, locate the Ganga and its tributary called the Son. This point also we will take in that. So in the ancient time, the area along this river to the south of the Ganga was called as Magda. South of the Ganga river, the area was called as Magda, now lying in the state of Bihar. The rulers were very powerful and set up a large kingdom and was set up the other parts of the country as well. The next, human race have started their story of development from the nomadic life to the settled civilized life, mostly on the bank of the various river, hill stations and valleys, and in India because of the vast forest wealth and the fertile land which were suitable for cultivation. Next, find the river Narmada on the map number 1. Now find the so and so. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 points which we study, we are going to see in the particular map. First, find the river Narmada on the map number 1. So here we are going to see the map number 1. This is the map number 1. So you have to find out the Narmada river. So Narmada river is here. Here. Again, first you have to see this carefully, then you have to do it by your own. This is your homework, right? You have to just mark point number 1, Narmada river. Point number 2 like that. So we are going to see again. Now find the Sulaiman and Kirthar hills to the northwest. Right? So here we are seeing the Sulaiman and the Kirthar here. Then next, locate the Garo hills and Vindhyas. So Garo hills here, right? And Vindhyas here. Then next, trace the river Indus and tributaries and locate Ganga and its tributaries. So Indus series and its tributaries are Ganga rivers and its tributaries. Son river is here. Now on this map only I am making the particular fixing point. Where are they? Right? Please observe carefully. Please see it properly. The spread of various areas such as so here you are seeing the river Indus, the bank of the Narmada river, the Vindhyas, the Garo hills, the river Ganga and its tributaries, and this the northwest hills. Okay, like that you have to do in your textbook by marking it, by making 1, 2, 3 numbers. Next, throughout people's travel from one part of the subcontinent to another, the hills and the high mountain, including the Himalaya, desert, river, sea meets, journey dangerous at the time, out never impossible. In this paragraph we are going to talk and discuss about how the people started move from one place to another, travel from one place to another in search of the food, in search of shelter, in search of water. They used to move from one place to another by facing different dangers. Then beside this merchant travel and so on. So finally the concluding part is about that why the people were traveling from one place to another. For the purpose of adventure, for the purpose to discover something, for sharing the ideas, or for walking village to village, town to town, or stopping to offer instruction and advice on the way. Next, why do people travel nowadays? Very important question. So it's a question for you. You have to think about nowadays for what purpose you used to travel. So you used to travel for the purpose of education, for the purpose of medical, for the purpose of marriage, adventure, traveling, visiting. N number of activities are going to be performed while moving from one place to another. So why do people travel nowadays? So that's the answer I stated to you. Look at the map once again more. So as we are seeing the map 2 times, you have to see the map number 1 once again. And hills, mountain and seas form the natural frontiers to the subcontinent. While it was difficult to cross this frontier, those who wanted could did scale and mountain and cross the sea. It means about on that map we are seeing the rivers, we are seeing the hill, we are seeing different physiographic features. So at that time that was very difficult to cross it, but still the people used to cross and move from one place to another. People from across the frontier also came into the subcontinent. This subcontinent is the word used for India. India is also called as subcontinent and settled here. These movements of the people enrich our culture because their culture is going to be adopted by us and our culture enriched and tradition. People have shared new ways of the carving stone, composing, using and even cooking food over the several hundred years. Next point, names of the land. How the names of the land has been. So 2 words we often use for our country are India and Bharat as always. The word India comes from the Indus called Sindhu in Sanskrit. Find Iran and Greece in your atlas. That's your homework part. You have to find the Iran and Greece. The Iranis and the Greeks who came through the northwest about 2500 years ago and were familiar with the Indus called Hindus or Indos and the land to the east of the river called India. That they used to call as India. How our motherland was having the name India. Then next, The name Bharata was used to the group of the people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in the Rig Veda. For that purpose we are using the name Bharata. And the earliest composition in the Sanskrit dated at about 3500 years ago. Later it was used for the country Bharata, then Bharat and India. Lastly, I want to speak to you all. You have to read this chapter thoroughly up to where we had studied now. So in the upcoming presentation, we are going to see about the more interesting facts and figures related to history. Till then, be safe and secure. Lastly, thanking to each and everyone. Jai Hind.